Hey guys, and here we are back for another video, and on this particular video it is one of those is it worth it video that we do from time to time here on the channel in a lot of machines. And on this particular video we will be talking about the Minix NGC-1, which I just reviewed right over here. I'll post the link just in case you want to check that out. So we will talk about price points, we will talk about the competition, and we will try to achieve on this particular video and try to help those of you that are on the fence or are not certain if you want to get it or not, to see if it's worth it or not, which is the title of the video. Now, for those of you that are expecting me to tell you if you should buy or you shouldn't buy, then this is not the video, because that's not the kind of answer that I give on these videos that I do from time to time. And if you are a follower of the channel, you know that I've done this in a lot of machines here. Now, the Minix NGC-1 will not be an exception, and we will try to achieve, first of all, we will see the competition, we will see the price points, and finally I will ask a few questions on the community that I'm really interested to know in terms of the NGC-1. Now, first of all, let's establish something here, which is why I've got these machines right over here. I've got the Minix Z64 Windows, the Wintel that we reviewed a few weeks ago. These are both with the Intel Z3735F, 2 gigabytes of RAM and 32 gigs of flash storage, non-upgradable with Windows 10, and this one has dual boot with pros and cons. This is a cheaper box, budget box, if I can say so, and there's nothing wrong with these machines. And I've got also the Transmart RX5 with the new Z8300 CPU, Intel CPU, and I've got a few more other budget machines arriving so that I can review them, and then at the summer do what I do here, which is a comparison video. But that's off topic, so let's try to keep this thing short. Now, these machines are not the competition of the NGC-1. This is, on my opinion, I might be right, I might be wrong, and you tell me down below in the comment section. And now we will try to establish what is the competition just next, but these are not. In terms of upgradability, these cannot be upgraded as the Minix NGC-1 can. In terms of specifications or performance, these are all inferior to the NGC-1, and the most significant, on my opinion, which is the build quality, all of them, which once again, there's nothing wrong. I love these mini computers, but once again, in terms of build quality, they have nothing to do with the NGC-1. As I mentioned on the review that I did, the Minix plastic is one of the plastics that I do consider of high quality. The Transmart I haven't tested yet, but I have high expectations as well for that one. This one is a little bit cheaper in terms of plastic, but it's cheaper as well in terms of price point. So we know what we are getting. But this one here, this is not plastic. This is a high quality device in terms of enclosure, and I would say that this is almost the same as I did say on the review of my Mac Mini, which is brushed aluminum, which is right over here. So in terms of quality, in terms of performance and upgradability, this is not a competition. And before we go to the screen where I will share some thoughts with you, I would like to mention something. I just recorded 2 videos about the MacBook, which is right over here on the top, the smaller one, and the MacBook Pro Retina 13-inch early 2015, which is mine. This is a good example of a company that has premium products, and this is true. Minix has released this kind of machine for the first time, so I don't know how people is going to react to this new machine, and that's why I'm doing this video, to try and gather the feedback from the community as always. But I was saying, this is a good question that I do get asked a lot on the channel when I do review these machines from Apple. Are they worth it? And there is no yes or no question. It depends on what we need the machine for and if we are ready to pay the premium tag. For example, this one here costs 1,500 euros and this one 1,500 euros as well. 2 different laptops, 2 different needs, and are we ready to pay the premium price for such a product, having in mind the performance that we should or we could get on other devices for a cheaper price and probably higher performance depending on what we need. So this is a good example of the kind of answer that you are going to get on this video, which is ultimately you will be deciding if it's worth it or not for you. In this particular case, the NGC-1 with these quick examples. And now don't waste much of your time, let's go straight for the screen so that it's easier for me and easier for you as well. Just moving my microphone here out of the way and going to the Minix Facebook page. We are going to check the prices here, and as we can see, we are talking about $400 for the NGC-1, 400 euros. The conversion is not exactly like this, but every company works this way. I don't care. I don't even want to know. Apple does the same thing, and other companies. And then £300. Now, what we are going to do here, I'm going to use Amazon UK, so we are going to use the pounds as reference. So whenever you see £300, you know that you are reaching the 400 euros or $400 value. Now, to establish what is the competition for the Minix NGC-1, I went to Amazon and I searched for the same CPU that the Minix NGC-1 is using. And I found a few, not many, mostly bare bones, and a few boards and so on, and some related hardware that I don't want to see, like NAS. At this moment, I love NAS units, but I don't want to see that right now. So what I gathered two machines that looked interesting to me, at least to me they looked. The ASRock B-Box, which I've got right over here, and costs £130. So if we take a minute to think, it is cheaper than the Minix NGC-1, but it's not the same machine. It's a bare bone. So in terms, and sorry if I'm losing the focus here, because it is a bare bone machine. So we will have to throw in an SSD, we will have to throw in the memory, and we will have to throw in the operating system, which we will talk about that in just a few minutes, because that is not a bad thing. It just depends if we need that or not. So getting back to the screen, what I can see is that this bare bone costs 130, and I've not had the chance to test it out, but in terms of build quality it doesn't seem quite as good as the Minix NGC-1, but I can only be sure if I had my hands on it. It doesn't look bad at all, but it's not the same design. The Minix NGC-1 looks like the Mac Mini in the same form factor, at least. Now, so we have a bare bone here that is interesting, and we will talk in just a few seconds. And I had another solution here that I found, and this one, by the way, doesn't want to sell to Portugal, at least to me, it doesn't want to sell. Sorry, this seller does not deliver to Portugal. That's always great to know that I will not be purchasing this machine, so I will be fine talking about it. Now, this machine is an unbranded machine. I don't know who produces this, who gives support and whatnot. And I can see that it costs £260, so less £40 than the Minix NGC-1. Now, this one has the same specs. We are talking about the same CPU, Windows 10 included. I'm not sure if the license is included or not. This is something very important. That's why I always check licenses. I was fortunate to receive this one with the activated Windows, but I've had reports from the users, for example, to have a non-activated Windows license here. So it is a bit difficult, and that's one of the things that any box that comes here on the channel, I will always check if the Windows is a original license and if it's fully activated or not. And you will see that, and if you follow the channel, you know how it works. So getting back to the screen here, we have a machine that is the same in terms of specs as the Minix NGC-1. Now, what I can take from this is that if you are ready to save £40 on this case, we are talking about roughly $60 or 60 euros. If you think that it's worth it to save on this kind of machine, then just go for it. Now, what I can see in terms of differences here is the type of design. Now, I can see a little, this is here, piece of metallic, I guess, similar to what we see on cheap computers, and we have plastic on the front and whatnot. So is it worth it getting this one over the NGC-1? Guys, only you can tell if it's worth it or not to save £40 and get a cheaper machine, or get this one as a premium device with a different look and feel. So this will depend. In terms of performance, I guess that one that we just saw, which I don't know who manufactures that, it is basically the same. It has no support, I guess, because we don't know who sells it and we don't know who manufactures this, but it is a point. So £40 less for this machine, and this is the direct competition of the Minix. But now let's take a look at the more interesting box, which is the B box. This one caught my attention, actually. This is a bare bone which costs £130. Now, what I did already to save time is add some items to my cart, which, as you can see, goes very near the price of the Minix NGC-1. So I added the B box with the same CPU, and then the RAM 4 gigabytes, the same RAM that we see on the Minix NGC-1, the Samsung RAM, and then one Samsung 12850 EVO M.2. I think Minix is using Toshiba on their machines. I'm not really sure, but I think it's a Toshiba, and then the Windows license. So if we add all this, we get £300, which is once again the same price that we get the Minix machine. So guys, it is not, on my opinion of course, it is not a bad deal, having in consideration that if we build the machine today, it will not be less expensive. Now, on the other hand, let's talk a little bit more here on the screen. What if, and this will be one of the questions that I will ask you guys towards the end of this video, which I will try to keep it as short as possible. What if you already have your operating system? Or what if you don't want to install Windows, you want to install Linux, or you want to use Remix OS? I have to try that on these machines, Remix OS or Remix OS, as you want to call it. It's Android based, and I'm not gonna search around, check it out, and soon I will have it here on the channel. Just checking the time, and it's getting a bit long. But the operating system, if we remove it, then we will get a lower price. On the other hand, if you already have a Samsung or any other SSD laying around, then the Minix is probably not the machine for you. If you have a RAM and an SSD, the machine is not for you. This one, the Minix NGC-1. This, on my opinion. So, in conclusion, right over here, if you already have RAM, an SSD, M.2 SATA, and if you have a operating system, or you don't want to use Windows, then this is not the machine that I would advise, because it will be, at the end of the day, more expensive. On the other hand, if you don't have nothing and you want to use a bare bones solution, and you need to buy your Windows license, your RAM and your SSD, then the price point is the same, and my advice is choose the one that you prefer, either the bare bone or this one already built. Another situation is, for example, if I give a bare bone, I don't have none here, but if I give a bare bone to my wife and I give her the RAM, the operating system and the SSD, and I'll tell her, here it is, the computer and the parts, and put it together, she has no clue of what to do with those parts and that bare bone. On the other hand, if I give this to her and tell her, hey, here it is a computer, she just needs to plug it in and work. So there are different kind of uses. For me, honestly, it is not difficult at all to buy a bare bone SSD, a RAM and an operating system, and putting all together. A very easy, a matter of seconds, minutes, not seconds, but minutes in this kind of computer. But there is a different target audience, and which one are you? I don't know. I know the community, and hopefully I will get a lot of comments here and telling me which kind of user you are and what you are looking on a machine like this. And my final question, because we have seen already the price points and so on and so forth, I think I've made my point clear in this aspect, but I would like to request something to the community, which is, would you like to see from Minix, and hopefully Minix will watch this video, would you like to see from Minix a bare bones solution of this really gorgeous machine? In my opinion here, I will need to give my opinion as always. I would honestly like to see, because if we have a bare bone solution, even if a bit more expensive because of the materials, then the competition will be a little bit more clear, which at this moment it is not. But that's my opinion, and that's why I want some of you guys to throw your opinion as well. Now, I do find that this should exist because of the users that I mentioned, that just need something to buy it and bring it home, plug it to the TV or to the displays, as I mentioned on the video now show, on my video review. But I also find that there are a lot of people that would like to get this, even without an operating system would be good. Nothing at all installed, so we can purchase and install the Linux installation or any other operating system that we would like to add, or a bare bone solution without anything. No operating system, no RAM, no SSD, and just the bare bone, and then anyone could make a choice. I don't know if this is possible or not, guys. You leave me down below in the comment section your opinion about this, and that would be great. That we could have a great discussion here, checking out the possibilities. At this moment, as far as I can tell, there's only this model here ready to bring home and plug it in and work, which is just great. You have my opinion on the review, which I'll try not forget to post a link once again right over here. It is an awesome machine, nothing to do with all the machines that we have seen so far. But in terms of pricing, is always it's also sorry nothing to do with these budget machines that we've seen so far, and in terms of performance, everything that I've mentioned on the video review of this particular machine. Guys, I will not take much more of your time. Hopefully this video was helpful to help you to decide if this machine, the Minix NGC-1, is worth it or not for you. And also don't forget to leave your comments down below, sharing your comments with me and all this great community here on the channel. Now that is it. My name is Roberto George, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.